6 minutes, pretty fast. Of course, it'll drop to 1 battery bar for 1 paddleboard.
Right on, Gicle. Let your spirit be free. With the wind at your back and the whole
I told you I knew where I was.
Gicle. Let your heart be your guide. In the depths of the thunder, it's your rant and your ride.
Alrighty, so this is a little bit of a review of my Hyperlight paddleboard from Costco. It's a pontoon board, so instead of being one solid board that floats in the water, this has pontoons, so the center of it is raised up off the water a little bit, and that makes it more stable. It also has a seat option, so you blow that up, strap it in, you got something you can lean against and do it like a kayak. I've used it a couple of times, and so now I'm going to, this is the first time, pumping it up with a hand pump is a horrible idea. So I bought an electric pump. I don't know if this camera's too close. So I bought an electric pump. And there's a million pump options, right? There's name brand ones. There's a million off-brand ones. This one's a little bit bigger than some of them, and a little bit bigger than I wanted. There were smaller ones about this size, from here to here. But this one had some of the best reviews. It has a light option on it. And so we're going to see how it works, basically. How long it takes to inflate. And I didn't bring my phone out or my watch, so I'll have to go in and get that. But it has all these various connectors there. And supposed to pump up approximately 4 paddle boards on battery power. And you always make sure your valve is up. Otherwise, if you pump up and disconnect it, you lose about 5 pounds very rapidly. So you have an inflate and a deflate. Okay. Alright, so we're going to time this inflation. See how that works. So you turn this thing on. 2 seconds. It's on kayak already. So you set. I'm going to pump it up to 14. started the stopwatch a little late, about 10 seconds. So really, it's about 6.5 minutes to 14 pounds. All right, 6.5 minutes, probably another minute to pump it up to 15, probably seven minutes or so for 15 pounds. Not bad, right? A lot of the pumps said 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 6 minutes, pretty fast. Of course, it'll drop to 1 battery bar for 1 paddleboard. When I go with my friends and family, we would probably have 4 paddleboards. It's supposed to do 4 paddleboards. So we'll see. All right. Okay, so I'm going to see how many times I can actually pump up this kayak. I did use it to deflate it. So it's on. We're going to adjust the PSI to 14. Okay. So about the same for 2 kayaks. So 6.5 minutes approximately on the second kayak. And it used up another battery bar. All right, so pumping up, 3rd time. All right, so I would call that most definitely a 3 kayak pump, not a 4 kayak pump. However, and you'll see it on the video review, you have to make sure when I put this nozzle in there. I checked it. I think it's on video, but if not, I checked it if it was tight. Well, while it was pumping up, it backed off just the slightest amount. It came loose. And you cannot hear the air escaping over the noise of the pump. But I noticed the pump got very slow for a long time about pumping up. And it still showed, 2 battery bars, and then it went to 1, and it was barely pumping up. Finally, I reached down and turned this, and I'm like, oh, that's loose. It's blowing air out the nozzle. So with any kind of pump, you have to make sure and check this fitting that it's tight while you're pumping. Maybe get down there and hold it, because the vibration of it pumping, this came loose. And it didn't pump up the kayak 3 times. Well, it blew it up to 12 pounds on the 3rd time, but that's because, I was blowing a bunch of air out that I didn't realize. Anyway, so I think it would be a 3-time full kayak pump. He's getting away, sitting here. It's nice to have them all on there, but it's pretty hard to connect this with all those things jingling around. But you think that would have stayed tight, because you got to do this to get it connected, but no, it was loose.